Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt Jacobs here. I wanted to do another photography video, but this one talking more specifically about Fuji and having less of technical examples and explaining things. I just kind of want to talk about the Fuji cameras that I've accumulated and that I have, and the reason why I have them and why I like them. So first I'll start off with my XT3s. I have my silver one here and the black one that I'm filming on. By the way, I am trying a new lens. It's actually a very old lens, but it's new to me. I have a second-hand 35mm 1.4, which is a legendary Fujifilm lens. And it has really old autofocus, but it's supposed to be loud. It does definitely make sounds when it's autofocusing, but I think it's doing a great job for this kind of video. It's not too demanding. But anyway, I have my silver XT3. This is the one I got first. I have a 23mm f2 on this. I'm just gonna say the lenses that I have on them, and if you want me to do a video talking about one of these lenses specifically, I will do that, because I do want to go through that, and then maybe you can help me decide the order if you see one that you like. But I have these XT3s for my professional work and video work, especially. All my other Fuji cameras that are not XT3s are not for video. And the XT3 just does such a great job. It has the X-Trans 4 sensor, which Fuji has their own special sensor. I'll just show you a side-by-side of this is the Bayer sensor. This is what pretty much every camera on Earth other than Fuji uses. This is the Fuji X-Trans sensor. You can see that the red, blue, and green dots are arranged in a different pattern that basically gives it a special character, and that's what makes Fujifilm cameras have the old filmic look that sets them apart from other camera manufacturers. So this is the fourth version of that. This is great. XT3 has one of the best autofocus. It's on par with the XT4, which is their newest flagship. Top of the line XT5 will come out eventually, but can't recommend the XT3 enough for a hybrid camera. This is my gimbal camera, even though it doesn't have in-body image stabilization, IBIS, like the XT4 has. I use it on a gimbal and it's plenty stable. I actually use it with the 18 to 55 kit lens. That is my gimbal camera with this lens, because this lens has stabilization in it, and that and the gimbal is stable enough for me. I don't need IBIS. It's a great video camera. It's what I use for all of my YouTube videos is the XT3, usually with this 23mm f2 lens or this kit lens. Now the 35mm f1.4, now that I have it, I'll be using that. But yeah, I get so many compliments on this camera and the images and videos that it produces. So no complaints there. No one has ever told me that they wished I had a full frame camera or a Sony or anything else. People have only ever complimented my Fuji XT3s, saying it's cool that it's retro, and they're always blown away by the image quality. I also just want to do a quick detour, since I know this is in the thumbnail of the video and a lot of people are going to recognize this camera. This is the Instax Mini 7S. It's it's just basically like a Polaroid. It prints the image right when you take it, and it's obviously not a digital camera, but it's very cool. Someone gave this to me as a gift before I ever got my other Fuji cameras. I didn't even know it was a Fuji at the time. It was just really cool. You can see right there, Fujifilm. It was really cool to look back at it after I got really into Fuji and see that oh, I already had a Fuji camera before that. But yeah, I mean, you can get this for $40, $50 from Walmart. I recommend if you just want to get some cool, I took it on a beach trip. It was really cool just to document a couple things, but I definitely don't find myself coming back to use this, because it's just so hard to get exposure and figure out, there's only 4 exposure things. There's a house, a cloud, a sun, and a brighter sun, and that's the only thing you have to set your exposure. But it's still a cool little gimmicky toy, but yeah, get it, sure. Just a quick side note, I also have a Fujifilm XM1, which Fujifilm has an XA series. They're on XA7 or whatever, and that is their lowest level, consumer grade. It actually has the Bayer sensor, like I was talking about, that all the other ones have. It doesn't even have the X-Trans sensor that is special to Fuji. But the XA5 has the same exact body as my XM1. What they did is they actually took the XA, whatever it was at that point, because the XM1 is an older camera. And they took the same body but put an X-Trans sensor in it. So it's the only camera of that body type that has an X-Trans sensor, which is what's really cool about the XM1. I just want to give a shout out to Chris Orange, whose video I saw about the XM1. He's a really cool like British dude. He shoots Fujifilm, all the old Fujifilm stuff specifically. Definitely check out his channel. He's the reason I got the XM1. He's also the reason I've been getting really heavily into the photography side of Fujifilm, because at first I was just shooting video on my XT3, and now I've fallen in love with the photography that it can do as well. So shout out Chris Orange, check out his channel. He does all sorts of Fujifilm content as well. But anyway, my XM1, it has the X-Trans 1 sensor. That's how old it is. It's the first X-Trans sensor that they made with their special dot arrangement, like I said about earlier. It's really I don't have it right now, or I would show you. I just let a friend borrow it. It's gonna be the one that I am so prone to trying to get my friends to get into photography and trying to teach them what I know. So that's gonna be my camera that I like lend to people with. I let him have my 18mm f2 lens with it. The XM1, like I said, it's the lowest, it's in the same body as the XA series, which is the lowest level. Like the thing that's great about the XT3, the silver and the black one, is it's mostly metal construction. It's very sturdy. The buttons are really nice to press. I'll show you a picture of the XM1, but I'll just say like, there's not like a metal shutter button. It's all plastic. It does, the great thing about the XM1 is it does have the tilty screen like this. The black background makes it hard to see right there. That kind of screen. XM1 does have a lower quality version of that, which is cool, but it does not have a viewfinder, which is a huge downside. So super plasticky, kind of big for you know what it is, because it's just, I don't know, plastic. I don't know. But the XM1, like the shutter button's not that great, but it does take great images. I'll show you a couple images that I took with the XM1. As even though I think I said in the beginning I wasn't gonna show images or go in that technical with it, I'll show at least like 3 pictures I took with each camera just to show that what it can do. But yeah, the XM1 is pretty amazing for considering how plasticky and cheap it feels, the images it can make, just because it has the X-Trans sensor and just because Fuji knows what they're doing, you know? And finally, I want to talk about, this has really become my favorite like photography camera, and I find myself always coming back to this. I got a really good deal for this. This is a Fujifilm XT10. So there's the XT1 line, which XT1, 2, this is XT3, and there's XT10 line, XT10, 20, and 30, which is the little brother of the corresponding number. So like the XT10 is the little brother to the XT1. So this has the X-Trans 2 sensor in it, which is probably the most talked about Fuji sensor in terms of just the filmic quality and what it can do. The X-Trans 1 as well, but I've heard so many people rant and rave about the X-Trans 2 sensor, which is what's in this. You can see, just as for comparison, it's just like a little baby version of the XT3. It's just a little bit tinier. It's super sleek. It's actually sleeker than the XM1, but I always come back to this. Right now I have the Pancake on it, inspired by Omar Gonzalez, another Fujifilm photography YouTuber. He has an XT20 and he always keeps the 27mm Pancake on it, but this is just such a good camera. I'll do a video on Fujifilm accessories as well, but I have a nice like wooden grip on it and like a third-party viewfinder. But this little thing, I just love shooting with it. It's the perfect balance between, like, it still is made of metal. There are more plastic parts to it than the XT3 though, but it's the perfect in-between between the XT3 is super premium, high quality, and the price reflects that. And the XM1 is the much lower quality version of that. I think I got the XM1 for like $200 secondhand on eBay. But it's super plasticky, and this is the perfect middle ground, I think. It has some plastic, but it's still nice, sleek construction. It's tinier than the XT1 line, and I always come back to this camera for my everyday carry around. I either have the 27mm Pancake or the 18 f2 Pancake. Yeah, XT10, I love this camera for photography more than my XT3. The images right out of the camera, people rant and rave about the X-Trans 2 sensor, and I believe they're absolutely correct. Right out of camera, I have to do less to the images to make me like them out of this camera than I do with the XT3. And just so you know, this older version of the Fuji X-Trans sensor. It's the same size. These are all ASPC cameras that I've been talking about, other than the Polaroid one. So the image sensor is the same size, but this older version had 10 less megapixels. This is a 16 megapixel. This is a 26 megapixel sensor, I believe. And what that means is there's less megapixels, there's 10 million less pixels in this sensor, but it's still plenty big and it's an awesome picture anyway. It's the same amount of pixels the XT1 had, which was so good at the time. But that means, because the sensor is the same size, even though it has less pixels, that means that the pixels are bigger, and this actually has better dynamic range because each pixel can gather more light. It's a super basic version of something that's pretty technical with megapixels and light gathering and all that important stuff. Yeah, so those are my Fujifilm cameras. I wish I had the XM1. I literally let my friend borrow it yesterday, right before I was gonna film this video. I wish I had that one to compare, like the ascending order XM1, this would be in the middle, XT3. I'll eventually do a video of each of these specifically, but let me know if you want to hear more about the XT10, the XT3, XM1, even the film one, the Instax Mini 3. Mini 7S, I mean. Let me know if you want a video on any of these or any of the lenses that I mentioned. I'd be happy to do it. I'm gonna do it anyway, but you can help me decide the order that I do it in. So yes, this is so nice. I just got to talk about something I was really passionate about, which is Fujifilm. I hope this lens, the 35mm f1.4, this is a super talked about magical lens, just it's as well renowned as the X-Trans 2 sensor, and yeah. Anyway, people rant and rave about this lens. I'm excited to see, I literally just got it today. I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Let's just see if I get up close. I don't know if you can hear it with my mic here. I don't know if you can hear it focusing. I can hear it in real life, but the only problem is that it's loud. It's keeping up with me great, and it seems like it's a very confident autofocus. Like, I don't feel like I'm going out. Anyway, that'll be its own video whenever I have this lens for a little while. I'll do a video talking about the pictures and videos it can do. But thank you for watching this video. Let me know if, like I said, if you want a video on any of these cameras or lenses I talked about. I hope you enjoyed just hearing me rant and rave about something that I'm passionate about. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.